There is a diesel engine sitting inside beat-up Ford trucks all across America that has quietly racked up million-mile odometer readings while newer, more expensive trucks are already in the junkyard. Most people drive right past these trucks at auction without a second look. They see the faded paint, the rust on the bedsides, the six-figure odometer, and they keep walking. I have been working on diesel engines for over 15 years, and I am going to show you exactly what that engine is, why it is genuinely unkillable, and most importantly, how to find one and buy it before the rest of the market catches on. The engine I am talking about is the Ford 7.3-liter Power Stroke diesel. It was produced from 1994 through 2003, and it powered the F-250 and F-350 Super Duty trucks that were built to haul anything, anywhere, for as long as the owner was willing to put oil in them. Right now, you can still find these trucks on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and at auctions for under $6,000, sometimes significantly under. That window is closing fast because the people who know about this engine have been buying them up quietly for years, and prices on clean examples have been creeping up every single year. Understanding why this engine is so special starts with understanding what Ford actually built under that hood, and what they built is nothing short of extraordinary. Ford sourced this engine from Navistar International, and from the very beginning, it was designed as a commercial-grade diesel that just happened to live inside a pickup truck. The block is cast iron, the heads are cast iron, the engine displaces 444 cubic inches, or 7.3 liters, and weighs 920 pounds dry. The architecture is overbuilt by every measurable standard. When it came out in mid-1994, it replaced the older IDI diesel, and it brought with it a revolutionary fuel delivery system that nobody had ever seen in a production pickup truck before. That system was called HEUI, which stands for Hydraulic Electronic Unit Injector, and it is the single most important reason why this engine is still respected and sought after over 30 years later. Here is how HEUI actually works, because understanding this system tells you everything about why this engine lasts so long. Instead of using a conventional mechanical injection pump to generate fuel pressure, the 7.3-liter engine uses high-pressure engine oil to fire the injectors. The high-pressure oil pump, called the HPOP, pressurizes engine oil to around 3,000 pounds per square inch. That pressurized oil enters each injector body, where it acts on a plunger. The surface area difference between the oil side and the fuel side of that plunger creates a multiplication effect of approximately 7 to 1. That means 3,000 pounds per square inch of oil pressure generates roughly 21,000 pounds per square inch of fuel injection pressure at the nozzle tip. The result is precise, powerful fuel delivery without the complexity of a common rail high-pressure fuel system. There are far fewer failure points. The injectors themselves are robust, mechanically straightforward, and relatively inexpensive to rebuild compared to modern diesel injectors that can cost $400 to $600 each to replace. This is the architecture of an engine built to last, and the numbers prove it. The 7.3 Power Stroke produces between 210 and 275 horsepower, depending on the model year, and between 425 and 525 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers might look modest compared to what a modern diesel makes, but the way this engine delivers that torque is where things get interesting. Peak torque arrives at just around 1,600 to 2,000 RPM on most configurations, which is exactly where you need it when you are pulling a loaded trailer up a hill. The engine does not need to rev hard to work. It lumbers along at low RPM under heavy load, building heat gradually, burning fuel cleanly, and putting almost no stress on its internal components compared to a high-strung modern diesel that is constantly cycling emissions equipment and operating at extreme injection pressures. Every mechanical component in this engine was sized for loads well beyond what normal driving and even hard towing would throw at it. And the record confirms it. Plenty of these engines have crossed 400,000 miles with nothing more than regular oil changes. There are trucks out there with over 500,000 miles on the original block. And then there are the verified million-mile examples, the trucks that have become automotive legends in diesel circles. One of the most famous is Peter Mudler's 1997 Ford F-250, which crossed the million-mile mark on its original 7.3-liter Power-Stroke diesel. That is not a rebuilt engine. That is not an engine that had major internal work done. That is an engine that was maintained and kept running, and it just kept going. When stories like that spread through the diesel community, people pay attention. And they started paying attention to these trucks years ago, which is why finding a really clean example for under $6,000 is getting harder every year. But they are still out there, and knowing what to look for makes all the difference between finding a genuine bargain and buying somebody else's expensive problem. There are two distinct generations of the 7.3-liter Power Stroke, and you need to know the difference before you start shopping. The first generation ran from 1994 to 1997 and came in what the diesel community calls OBS, or old body style trucks. These are the square body F-250 and F-350 trucks with the rounded front fenders and chrome bumpers. Exactly what a truck looked like in the 1990s. The OBS trucks started at 215 horsepower and 425 pound-feet of torque in 1994 and 1995, and received a bump to 225 horsepower and 450 pound-feet in 1996 and 1997. The OBS trucks used single-shot injectors, meaning each injector delivered fuel in one spray event per combustion cycle. This design is known for strong throttle response and excellent performance potential. If you're buying an OBS truck and plan to modify or tune it, this single-shot injector configuration responds very well to upgrades. The second generation ran from 1999 through early 2003 inside the Super Duty trucks built on Ford's brand new dedicated platform. The 1999 and later 7.3-liter added an air-to-air intercooler, which cools the compressed intake air before it enters the engine. Cooler, denser air means better combustion, more power, and lower operating temperatures across the board. Power climbed to 235 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque in the early Super Duty trucks, and by the final years of production, the top configuration made 275 horsepower and 525 pound-feet with the manual transmission. The Super Duty trucks also switched to split-shot injectors, which divided each injection event into two smaller pulses. This reduced combustion noise and improved emissions, but at the cost of some performance potential. For someone who wants to tune the truck, the single-shot OBS trucks have an edge. For someone who wants a quieter, smoother daily driver with more stock power, the Super Duty generation is the better choice. There is one critical model year consideration that anyone buying a Super Duty must know before signing anything. Starting with the 2001 model year, Ford switched from forged steel connecting rods to powdered metal connecting rods inside the engine. For a completely stock, never-tuned engine, this makes no real difference. The powdered metal rods handle the factory power levels without issue. But if you ever plan to tune this engine with an aftermarket chip or programmer, and virtually every 7.3 owner eventually does, because the tuning potential is enormous, powdered metal rods have a meaningful failure threshold around 450 horsepower. Push a tuned engine from 2001 to 2003 hard past that threshold, and the rods can fail catastrophically. The 1994 through 2000 trucks used forged connecting rods throughout, and those rods are significantly more robust under modified power levels. If you plan to keep the truck completely stock forever, any year works. If there is even a small chance you will put a tune on it someday, prioritize 1999 and 2000 Super Duty trucks or the 1994 through 1997 OBS trucks. Now let us talk about what can go wrong, because no 25-year-old diesel truck is without its known issues. The most important thing to understand is that most common 7.3-liter problems are well documented, well understood, and relatively inexpensive to fix compared to what plagues the engine's successors. When Ford replaced the 7.3-liter with the 6.0-liter Power Stroke in 2003, they introduced an engine notorious for blown head gaskets, EGR cooler failures, and oil cooler clogging, any one of which could result in a repair bill exceeding $3,000. The 7.3-liter has nothing like that hanging over it. Its problems are manageable. The number one thing to check on any used 7.3-liter is the camshaft position sensor, which the diesel community calls CPS. This small sensor tells the engine computer where the camshaft is at all times, and the injection system uses that information to time fuel delivery correctly. When CPS fails, the truck will either refuse to start, stall unexpectedly, or crank endlessly without firing. CPS failure is so common that experienced 7.3-liter owners carry a spare in the glove box. A new OEM CPS costs between $25 and $70. It can be replaced roadside in a few minutes, and many owners swap it preventatively when they first buy the truck. When test driving a potential purchase, watch the tachometer while cranking the engine. If the tach needle does not move at all during cranking, that is a strong indication CPS has failed. Note this: price a replacement and factor it into your negotiation. The second issue to check is oil leaks, specifically in the valley between the two cylinder heads where the high-pressure oil system lives. The 7.3-liter is notorious for developing leaks at the HPOP O-rings, the turbocharger pedestal O-rings, and the injector pressure regulator valve. Pop the hood and look down into the valley. Fresh oil pooling or heavy residue coated with grime means leaks are present. This does not automatically mean walk away. A leaking HPOP O-ring or turbo pedestal O-ring is a common maintenance item that an experienced diesel mechanic can reseal in an afternoon. But knowing the leaks are there gives you leverage to negotiate the price down and reveals how the previous owner cared for the truck. A truck with leaks and no maintenance records has been neglected. A truck with minor leaks and a stack of service paperwork has been used hard but maintained honestly. Look for white smoke on startup as well. Persistent white smoke after the engine fully warms up typically points to failing glow plugs, worn injectors, or in the worst case, coolant entering the combustion chamber from a cracked injector cup. Blue smoke indicates oil burning, which often comes from worn turbocharger seals or injector O-ring failures. A truck that starts cleanly on a cold morning, fires quickly without excessive smoke, and settles into a stable idle within a minute or two is a truck with a healthy injection system. That cold start test is the single most informative thing you can do when evaluating a used 7.3-liter. The fuel system deserves attention as well. The 7.3-liter uses a lift pump to move fuel from the tank to the engine, and these pumps can weaken over time, starving the injection system under load. An inexpensive OBD2 scanner that reads 7.3-liter specific parameters will let you monitor injector control pressure while the engine runs. A healthy 7.3-liter should build ICP rapidly on startup and maintain stable pressure under load. Erratic or low ICPs during warm running often points toward a failing IPR valve or worn HPOP, both of which are fixable but worth knowing about before you hand over cash. The transmission is the other major system to evaluate carefully. The OBS trucks use the E4OD 4-speed automatic or the ZF 5-speed manual. The E4OD holds up well when maintained, but benefits from an external transmission cooler if the truck has been used for towing. A dipstick check tells you everything, because overheated fluid appears dark brown or black and smells burnt. The Super Duty trucks use the 4R100, a stronger unit and a meaningful upgrade for hard-working applications. Both transmissions have extensive aftermarket support and can be rebuilt to handle significantly more power than stock. Frame and body condition matters enormously on trucks this age, and this is where geography becomes critical. A 7.3 that spent its life in Texas, Arizona, or Florida is a fundamentally different truck than one that survived 15 winters in Minnesota or Ohio. Road salt destroys these frames, and heavy rust can make an otherwise excellent truck economically unrepairable. Before you get excited about the engine, get under the truck and look at the frame rails. Use a flashlight and a screwdriver to probe anything that looks questionable. Surface rust on a 25-year-old truck is expected and harmless. Heavy pitting, scale rust that flakes off in chunks, or rust that is eaten through the frame wall is a reason to walk away, regardless of how good the engine is. A solid engine and a rotted frame is not a bargain at any price. When you find a truck that passes the visual inspection and the cold start test, look at the maintenance history. A 7.3 on strict 5,000-mile oil change intervals using quality 15-40 diesel oil will still have strong internal tolerances, even at 300,000 miles. This engine holds 15 quarts of oil, and that large capacity is one of the reasons it handles heat so well. The HEUI injection system is particularly dependent on clean oil, because the same oil that lubricates the engine also actuates the injectors. Dirty, degraded oil degrades injection performance before it ever touches the bearings. An owner who changed the oil every 5,000 miles and kept up with fuel filter changes every 10,000 to 15,000 miles has given you a foundation you can build on for another 200,000 miles without breaking a sweat. The best examples are found through private sales from farmers, ranchers, and contractors who bought these trucks new and drove them hard, but were maintained religiously because their livelihood depended on that truck starting every morning. These are not people who skipped oil changes or ignored warning lights. These are people who understood that a dead truck meant a dead workday, and they treated the machine accordingly. Small-town Craigslist listings in agricultural regions often surface these trucks at prices that have not caught up with what they are worth. Facebook Marketplace is another strong source, particularly in the South and the Southwest, where rust is not a factor. Estate sales and farm auctions occasionally produce trucks at prices well below market because the buyers present simply do not know what they are looking at. That information asymmetry is exactly what you want to exploit. Budget your purchase realistically. If you find a truck for $4,500 and it needs a camshaft position sensor, a set of glow plugs, fresh fuel filters, an oil change, and a valve cover gasket reseal, you are looking at $400 to $700 in parts if you do the work yourself, or $800 to $1,200 at an independent diesel shop. That puts an honest working truck on the road for under $6,000 with a motor that has another 200,000 miles in it. Compare that to a new diesel pickup that starts at $55,000 before a single option is added and then depreciates the moment you leave the lot. The math is not close, and it never will be. Clean examples with low miles have already climbed to prices that would have seemed absurd 10 years ago. A rust-free OBS truck with under 150,000 miles can easily fetch $15,000 to $20,000 from a buyer who knows what they are looking at. The trucks priced under $6,000 are the ones with high mileage, cosmetic wear, or minor mechanical issues that scare off buyers who do not understand what they are dealing with. High mileage on a well-maintained 7.3 is not a problem. It is a resume. It is proof that the engine works, that the injection system holds pressure, that the block did not crack, that the head gaskets held. A 7.3 with 280,000 miles and a clean bill of health is more reliable than many modern diesel trucks with 80,000 miles and a pending emission system failure. The 7.3 Power Stroke was discontinued in early 2003, not because it wore out, but because it could not meet California noise regulations. Ford moved on to the 6.0, the market moved on, and these trucks fell into the hands of farmers, contractors, and the small community of diesel enthusiasts who recognized what had been built. Now the rest of the world is starting to figure it out. YouTube channels, diesel forums, and word of mouth have been spreading the story of this engine for years, and every month a new wave of buyers enters the market looking specifically for a 7.3. Prices will keep climbing as that audience grows and as the supply of clean, low-rust examples with honest maintenance histories continues to shrink. The opportunity to find a genuine working truck with a million-mile motor for under $6,000 still exists right now, but it will not exist forever. If you have been thinking about a diesel truck, this is the engine and this is the moment. Go find your truck, do your cold start test, check that valley for leaks, and bring a magnet for the frame rails. The rest is just maintenance. If you found this genuinely valuable, subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I cover diesel trucks, hidden buying opportunities, and real-world mechanical knowledge that saves you serious money every time. Drop a comment below telling me how many miles are on your 7.3, because I know some of you watching this have trucks that would blow everyone's mind. I'll see you in the next one.